Hello and welcome to this week's Chrono Trigger Jets of Time race. Today we have Chocosora, Lord Batsy, One Free Fits, and Phone competing for the crown. Our flags today are Boss Rando, Gear Rando, and Healing Item Rando. And now, let us begin. Our starting characters today is Robo and Marl. We begin with the opening cutscene, in which Chrono's mom is sucked into a time portal. Our brave heroes must immediately forget why they hopped into the time machine, and instead save the world from a future apocalypse. While this plays out, let's go over the objectives. To finish the game, players must defeat either Lavos in the Ocean Palace or Queen Zeal in the Black Omen. To reach the Ocean Palace, players must collect the Gate Key, the Ruby Knife, and the Dreamstone, and then proceed to Tyranno Lair. Alternatively, the Ocean Palace can be reached by recruiting Frog, collecting the Bent Hilt and Bent Sword, and reforging the Massimmune to access Magus Castle. After Magus Castle, the Ocean Palace will become available. Our third and final go mode requires collecting the Pendant, the Chrono Trigger, and the Clone. These items will allow access to the Future and Death Peak. After completing Death Peak, the Black Omen will rise from the ocean. Nobody is quite sure why, but it's best not to question these things. At the start of the run, our players have a few goals in mind. First, there are 2 free key item checks. The first is the Lazy Carpenter's Wife, which we are just about to see. The second is the item for sale at the Snail Stop. Fitz has peaked the Snail Stop item, and it is Ruby Knife, which is one of 3 items needed for Tyranno Lair Go mode. And it looks like he's gone ahead and purchased it. Chocosora is obtaining the Carpenter's Wife key item now. And it is the Crisis Mune, which is the empowered Massimmune with the Crisis Arm effect applied to it, courtesy of Gear Rando. This key item does not give progression, but it has the potential to make Frog a more attractive party member. From here, the runners will finish up their early routing. This includes finding consumables, such as revives, tonics, heals, shelters, and ethers, to enable them to continue fighting through the various dungeons and bosses. They also want to pick up power, magic, and speed tabs. They also want to unlock their starting techs, and pick up a 3rd character from the cathedral entrance. While this is playing out, allow me to explain the additional flags. First, Boss Rando means that in most boss locations, a random boss will appear. This boss will be scaled to the appropriate stat level for that boss spot. For example, a boss in the cathedral spot will have the same stats as Yakra. In Gear Rando, Gear can roll either a plus or a minus. Gear with a plus is stronger than the vanilla item, while Gear with a minus is weaker. These pieces of gear can gain additional effects that are not present on the gear by default. The Crisis Mune from Carpenter's Wife is one such example. In Healing Item Rando, HP and MP recovery items are assigned a new recovery value. In addition, Lapis can instead be converted into a Lapis M, which restores MP to the full party instead of HP. We will now look at Chocosora's screen for a brief moment to see what the starting techs are. Techs are assigned in a random order per character, and the first 3 techs can be accessed prior to unlocking magic at the end of time. Robo, Ayla, and Magus do not require magic unlocks to access their techs. And it looks like Robo's first tech is Shock. This is a good starter tech. It deals a good amount of screen-wide magic damage. This will help to clear the early game efficiently. Marl learns Provoke, which causes a confused status effect on the enemy. This one doesn't see much use. Robo learns Heal Beam, which is a useful party-wide heal with a low cost. Mole learns Ice 2, which is another strong screen-wide magic tech. Water magic is very powerful against the sunken desert enemies. Robo is required to complete the desert, so we may see early desert plays. At this point in the run, we will see players finish their initial routing and enter the cathedral. They will also talk to the Knight Captain on the Xenon Bridge to trigger the Xenon Bridge quest for later. We see Fitz enter the cathedral, which contains the characters, a boss, and the Nogaret bromide. Players that are in a hurry will usually collect the first character and the bromide, and then move on to other checks, leaving the second character behind, unless they feel it is needed. We see Chocosura peeking Frog's burrow, which will award 3 chests, and will inform them of what character is gated behind reforging the Masamune, and its Lucar, tough break friends. Fitz has completed the cathedral fight, so we will see the first character recruit now. And it's Frog. These 3 characters are the only ones that can gate progression. Marl is needed to access the King's Trial Quest chain, Frog is needed for Magus Castle, and Robo is needed for the Desert Quest's completion. The runners may avoid additional character checks for this reason. Here we see Fitz obtaining the bromide. This can be turned into the Old Man in 600 AD in Dorino for 1 of each tab. The other runners are right behind him. Batsy appears to be going for the Xenon Bridge check. This check's key item can be checked beforehand and players can reset out of it if they feel it is not worth the time. Fitz appears to be doing an early desert play to gain a large power spike and complete a mid-game level objective earlier than would otherwise be possible. Batsy has obtained a bent hilt from the bridge check, and it looks like Batsy is reset out of it. Batsy don't want that junk. Chocosura appears to be headed to the back of Cathedral, where we will see our first boss of the run and our 4th recruit. Fitz is demonstrating the high experience gains available in Desert meanwhile. and it appears as though Phone has the same idea. Batsy meanwhile is diving into the Hecarim cave, a more traditional early gameplay that awards good tech points. And our first boss of the seed is a lava spawn at the back of Cathedral. Batsy is approaching the boss of Hecarim, while Phone and Fitz are nearing the end of their desert grind. The lava spawn is quickly dispatched by Chocosora. We will see our fourth character in the 600 AD castle, though some light dialogue. Here we see the results of the desert and Hecarim routes. Phone and Fitz are level 15 and Batsy is 11. All three are preparing to fight the boss of their respective checks. Batsy will be fighting Retinite, which shouldn't be a problem with water magic and physical damage outputs. And in Desert we have Nizbal too, which should also not be a problem with our party setup. In Jets of Time, Nizbal and Nizbal are vulnerable to all magic types, so there is no need to shock them to complete the fight, although it certainly makes it faster. And on Chocosaurus stream, we see Magus is the fourth character. This is generally a strong character in the early game, with a wide variety of screen-wide magic of all elements and strong starting gear. It appears as though Batsy has accidentally let the retinite core die. This causes the boss to gain significant offensive and defensive power, and may require a reset to try again. Chakosora has opted to complete the bridge check instead of resetting, so we will see the boss and drops of that check now. In the first of fights, Ozzy is considered a boss and has a boss loot table. This can result in very strong drops, such as 2 pairs of prism specs. And we see the Ozzy fight drops magic tabs. It's not great, but it's not bad either. We see the boss of the bridge and its super slash. What's super about him? How much easier he is than the normal slash. Fitz and Phone are completing the desert check, and we will see the reward soon. Batsy has vanquished Retinite and Phone is turning in the desert quest now. Fitz is starting the bridge check. Batsy has received the pendant from the Hecarim cave check, which opens up the future after completing the prism break sequence, and is one of 3 items needed for the Black Omen Go mode. Phone receives a Dreamstone from the desert, which puts him at 2/3 for Tyranno Go mode, needing only Gate Key. Phone has realized his tracker is not working and will be troubleshooting. He'll be back. Batsy is starting the Dinodoro check now, which is generally a pretty quick run that shows off a laugh of encounter skips. But first we must provide cover for Tartar as he flees. Chakosora has completed the bridge and Super Slash has dropped a rainbow, which will make Chrono a very attractive party member if he is found. Phone has cleared the technical difficulty check and will be resuming the run now. Phone will be joining Batsy on Dinaldoro and Chokosora will clear Hecarim Cave for a pendant. Fitz is finishing up Super Slash. Fitz has acquired his dream stone. The jerk bird on Dinaldoro has given Batsy a black rock plus, which is a black rock with an additional buff attached to it. Marl can equip it, so let's see what it does. It's 25% bonus damage, which is very powerful. Phone appears to be right behind Batsy, and Fitz is following Choco through the cave. We see Batsy and Phone initiating the Massa immune fight, while Chokosora resets out of Retinite. Massa and Mune have fused into 4R series robots, and nobody is sure how. But we're very proud of them. Chokosora is finishing up Retinite now, and will receive his pendant. Fitz begins his retinite fight as the other runners finish off their bosses. We see that the Dinardoro check awards the Hero Medal. This is an accessory for Frog that grants him 1/3 reduced damage taken from all sources and plus 50% damage dealt. It also opens up the chest in his burrow, which contains another key item. Chakosura has initiated the prison break. Phone and Batsy open Frog's chest to find a pack of jerky. This can be turned into the Paul Elder's house in 600 AD, which will cause the mayor in 1000 AD to give them a high-tier piece of gear. Fitz has finished off retinite and will receive his pendant. The jerky reward is a weakened prism helm, but it has haste on it, so nobody is going to be too upset. Here we see Fitz on the first step of a long journey that will only result into pieces of gear. Phone begins the bridge check while Batsy dips into the desert. and the prison exit is guarded by a Hecarim. With this party, Chocosora will make quick work of it. Meanwhile, our other runners are near the end of their respective checks. Chocosora defeats the Hecarim as Phone enters Hecarim Cave and Batsy receives her Dreamstone. Fitz is beginning the Osiris fight, which will not take long. At this stage, it's hard to say who is ahead. Chocosora enters Future and immediately begins looting. Sealed chests and doors and the Future generally have pretty good contents, so we may see some good pickups here. Batsy begins the prison break as Fitz finished in Odoro and likely heads to the Future. Phone will join them shortly. Chukosora finds Chrono in Protodome, which could be very attractive with the rainbow sword if his techs are good. Phone obtains the pendant and heads to the prison alongside Fitz, while Batsy nears the end of it. Chukosora continues looting, while Batsy faces the Hecarim. Batsy begins looting the future, while Phone approaches the prison exit and Fitz rescues his ancestor to continue his existence. Here we see the timelines begin to converge as Chocosora returns to the past to complete the desert, and the others follow his footsteps in the future. Foam dives deeper into Lab 16 and is rewarded with sunshades, while Chocosora finished Nizbaloff. Meanwhile, Batsy encounters North Cape Magus in Aris Dome. This fight can be problematic, as he counters with full screen magic when attacked below 50% HP. Here we see Chocosora return to the future, having completed deserts, while Fitz and Foam recruit Chrono. Batsy meanwhile looks at the bike racing high scores and prepares to receive the Aris Dome reward. We see Chokosora approaching the Sun Palace, which is a very quick boss fight into a key item. The only problem, it's one of the stronger bosses in the game. But at level 20 it shouldn't be much trouble. Flea Plus is on the menu here, which, like Super Slash, is actually the weaker version. Batsy receives a clone from Aris Dome, which puts her one Chrono trigger away from Black Omen Go mode. In a moment of crazy convergence, we see Phone and Fitz enter the same room as Chokosora to fight Flea Plus. Batsy, meanwhile, approaches Geno Dome. This is a long check, but quite rewarding if the key item is worth it. There is a lot of experience and items to be had if you can complete it efficiently, which Batsy should have no problem with. And we see that Chokosora has found the gate key. This puts Chokosora in Tyranno Lergo mode, with Phone and Fitz right behind him. Phone and Fitz utilize their power from the early desert grind and the powerful items they've found to quickly dispatch Flea Plus and join Chokosora in the endgame. Here we will see the runners do their final preparations for the endgame. They will want to stock up on consumables, unlock the time period, and possibly unlock magic if they deem it necessary. Batsy, meanwhile, is still hunting for Go mode. If we see a Chrono trigger at the end of Geno Dome, Batsy will be in a strong position to compete, as Black Omen can be completed without additional grinding, while an early game Tyranno Lergo mode will require extensive grinding to finish. Phone immediately unlocks magic, while Fitz and Choco seem to not be worried. Chokosora returns to End of Time, Phone finishes up the magic unlock, and Fitz begins Tyranno Lair. Tyranno Lair is a short dungeon that contains a lot of skips that are tricky to pull off, as there is no visual cue for where the enemies spawn. Knowing how to navigate the traps can make or break a race. Meanwhile, Batsy in Geno Dome be going for a conveyor skip, which is another tricky run. Fitz takes a few extra encounters and is the first to the Tyranno lair mid-boss and its Yakra. It should be an easy fight with this party. Fitz makes quick work of Yakra and will proceed to the Black Tyranno. Batsy appears to be opting out of the risky conveyor skip in favor of the safe normal route. We see Phone hitting skips and starting the Yakra fight, slightly ahead of Chocosora. And Yakra goes down for Phone. Chocosora defeats Yakra as well, while Fitz begins the Black Tyranno fight. Phone and Fitz are now both locked in combat with the Black Tyranno, with Chocosora close behind. Ozalo goes down for Fitz. Phone finishes Ozala as Chocosora begins the battle. Ozala is deleted by Chocosora, and now all three are in the second phase. Fitz is the first to defeat the Tyranno, and will be moving on to the final dungeon after a brief cutscene and shopping. And Phone also defeats the Tyranno. Chokosora defeats the Tyranno as Fitz enters 12,000 BC and Batsy approaches the Geno Dome boss. As we reach the 1 hour mark, 3 racers are within seconds of each other on the road to the Ocean Palace, while Batsy is on a divergent path. It's still anyone's game at this point. We see the runners begin to enter Zeal, where they will check the final shop for some last minute gear, including a guaranteed amulet for sale. We may also see another rock pickup in the hidden room in Kojar. Unfortunately for our runners, money is scarce today. They will need to make some meaningful choices here. Batsy has reached the boss of Geno Dome, and it's Massimmune. This boss only has 3000 HP, so we expect this to be over quickly. And it's gone. Let's see what we get. Folks, we have a C trigger. Batsy has a real shot at a comeback here. The other runners are scrambling to find the best combinations of gear and shop items for their endgame party. Batsy wastes no time heading to Keeper's Dome to initiate the Black Omen Go mode path. Our Tyranno runners continue to question their decisions at the shop. Fitz and Chokosora are now exiting the final shop and are headed to the palace. Phone surely will follow soon after. But first, he's activating the secret room for one last chance at a rock with a strong bonus effect. And it's junk. The bonus was plus 10 power and stamina, which Marl has little use for. Chokosora and Fitz are initiating the Zeal Throne boss now, and it's Flea again. This Flea will be the stronger version with magic resistance and no status immunity. This may give Batsy a chance to catch up more. Batsy begins her climb up Death Peak and grabs the swag tab. Will she make it to the second tree? Yes. Will she be a friend of the stream and have the alternate Death Peak music? No, but that's okay. She's still a friend of the stream. And we see an excellent display of Death Peak skips from Batsy, while the other 3 have once again synchronized their runs on Flea. And Chokosora is the first to complete the Flea fight. Fitz in a close second has also completed the fight. And we continue to see very clean pathing from Batsy as Phone wraps up his flea battle. Chocosora takes an optional fight. He has been known to use scouts to lower Frog's HP for Frog Squash elevator strats. Let's take a look, and that appears to be what he is doing here. Fitz meanwhile is headed straight through to the grind spot. Batsy finds Atomraptors on Death Peak, which should be fast. Phone appears to be performing AFK strats. It's a bold strategy, because it has seen some success in the past. And after a brief meditation break, Phone is back in the game, while Fitz has reached the grind spot and Chocosora's frog is primed to squash. Atomraptors falls to Batsy's Cold Blade, clearing the path to the Black Omen. It is still anyone's game at this point. The Ocean Palace racers are fairly underleveled and will need extensive grinding, while Black Omen gives enough power through the mandatory bosses to complete the run. And now let us watch the cool Death Peak and Omen hybrid cutscene to distract from the grinding happening in the other 75% of our screens. We see similar strategies being utilized for the grinding. All runners open with Ice 2, that none can clear the fight with a single hit, so Fitz is using Robo's Shock to finish the job, while Phone and Choco use attacks. It is notable that Fitz has opted not to have Frog in the party. This may be an effort on Fitz's part to have a better boss fighting party, with Robo's superior damage output versus Frog's reliance on his crisis weapon and generally underpowered offensive abilities. He may, however, experience a longer elevator phase in exchange. Phone and Chocosora meanwhile will be relying on Chrono and Marl's damage output, while keeping Frog in a supporting role. Batsy enters the Black Omen as the others race to gain enough power to finish the run. Black Omen is a long run with a number of tricky skips and many rooms and bosses. But Zeal is a boss that can be completed in a matter of minutes, so there is still hope if the Omen bosses are manageable. Batsy appears to be going for maximum speed, skipping as many fights as possible. This is a good strategy, as Geno Dome will have given more than enough power to not need to take additional fights in the Omen. Fitz has broken from the pack and is now making the final descent to Twin Bosses. From here we can expect completion in approximately 20 to 25 minutes depending on how well the upcoming fights play out. Batsy has made significant progress into the Omen and could also finish in a similar time. Batsy continues to run from fights, saving a small amount of time for each fight compared to defeating them. This will add up to a significant time save over the course of the dungeon, but may make the bosses slightly harder to deal with. Batsy has reached the first Black Omen elevator. These rooms can have anywhere from 0 to 3 encounters in them, chosen at random. This can make or break a run. But as they say, Rando is Rando. We must play the hand we are dealt. Batsy has encountered 2 fights in the elevator so far. These enemies must be defeated. You cannot run from them. And Batsy makes it look easy, as expected. Phone and Chocosora, in another cosmic coincidence, begin their descent at the same time. Batsy exits the elevator and Fitz enters his elevator. Chocosora appears to be skipping the remaining encounters, while Phone is opting to pick up a few additional levels on the way down. Batsy misses an encounter skip here, which may hurt later. Phone still needs to lower his frog's HP, which may put him in a hole that will be hard to climb out of. Phone opts to use the statue to lower Frog's HP. Each fireball deals 10 damage to the party leader, requiring a total of 40 fireballs to reduce Frog's HP from 399 to the one he wants. Frog squash scales off of missing HP amounts, and when Frog is at critical health, he can quickly finish the elevator. We just saw a haste helm and speed tab pickup from Batsy's final shop room. With the additional speed tabs, that she has picked up on the way. Things are looking quite zippy for this party. Fitz begins the final encounter of the elevator, a fight with 3 different varieties of scouts. These enemies are resistant to physical damage and are only vulnerable to one magic type. If they are hit with the wrong elemental type, it will heal them and trigger a strong counterattack. For this reason, strong physical screen clears or non-elemental magic are preferred to greatly reduce the time spent in the elevator. Frog Squash, Dino Tail, Black Hole, Max Cyclone, and Falcon Hit are all solid choices. We see Chocosora demonstrating the effectiveness of the Frog Squash strategy. Batsy is drawing ever closer to the first boss of the Omen. While there are 6 bosses in total, they are all very close together in the dungeon and can be completed in rapid succession. Phone begins his elevator descent as Batsy fights the Tubster. This enemy has a decent health pool and will counter if it is not defeated in one hit, but this won't be an issue here. Chocosora's frog goes down, which will slow down this encounter and give the other racers a chance to pull ahead. Fitz and Batsy miss some skips, costing some time at this critical moment. Chocosora's frog is back in action, and this fight will quickly resolve itself. Phone is a couple of encounters behind, but has a chance to make up lost ground with good execution of the remaining encounters. And Fitz has successfully pulled off the second scout skip, clearing the path for the twin boss fight as Chocosora exits the elevator. We see a missed scout skip from Chocosora. Phone is one screen behind wrapping up the elevator. Phone hits the first scout skip as Fitz enters the boss room. And the second scout skip is good. We see on Fitz's screen that the twin bosses flee again. This will be the 3rd time that these runners will have cinched up their runs on flee. Chocosora equips the Wonder Bow, but we may not actually see any Wonder crits as Marl is primarily being used as a partner for Chrono's Ice Sword. Fingers crossed for the memes anyway. Not one to turn down a good meme, Phone also equips the Wonder Bow. Batsy is at the door to the first Omen boss, while our other runners are stuck on Flea, who has the potential to wipe the party if they are not careful. In an unfortunate turn of events, the first Omen boss is not Flea, and is in fact the hardest boss in the entire game. Batsy, however, is no stranger to unlucky runs, and is the perfect person for the job. Everything will be fine. Looking back at the trio of Ocean Palace enthusiasts, We can see that Flea is still standing, while many of their party members are taking naps and being intoxicated. It's a slapping good time. Generally, runners love to see Flea. He throws out status effects non-stop, which must be dealt with, and while below 50% HP, any attack on Flea has a chance to trigger a counterattack that hits the entire party for approximately 120% of their max HP. On average, one must keep on top of their party. Batsy is now done with the Golem boss, and will proceed to the second elevator, where we hope to see no encounters. After the elevator, there is a brief gauntlet of mandatory encounters and bosses before the Zeal fight. Because this seed was rolled with the racing flags, Zeal 2 is considered the final boss of the Omen run, and there is no need to fight Lavos afterwards, so who is ahead is still up in the air, even 10 to 15 minutes from the end of the run. We see a stare guy out on phone's screen, but he lives. Phone must have been counting the boss's HP, because he pushes Flea over here instead of healing up. Batsy, unluckily, does not hit 0 encounters on the elevator. Flea goes down for Phone, making him the first to access the final boss. If all goes well, he is in a good position to finish first. But Fitz is right on his heels with a Robo that has higher damage potential than Frogs. Batsy is seen by the bats, triggering a goon fight that can be skipped. She is nearing the end of her run and, as before, if the bosses in the coming gauntlet are manageable, a quick finish on Batsy's part is a possibility. Our Ocean Palace runners meanwhile make their final gearing decisions. Phone begins the Lavos encounter as Chocosora finishes Flea off. For good this time, I promise. Fitz enters the final room and initiates the Lavos encounter, and Batsy makes her way to the next Omen boss. Lavos' first form has 12,000 HP, so this fight will be over very quickly with Ice Sword 2 hitting in excess of 5,000 damage. Our racers are short on status immunity gear, so if obstacle rolls something scary, it may complicate things. We see a Lavos spawn on Batsy's screen. These little fellas typically go down pretty quickly, as there is strong single target damage in the party. If you like to party, however, you can use screen-wide attacks to damage the boss heavily, and just heal through the needles. Let's see what happens. Batsy says yeehaw, opting to damage the shell and face at the same time. Over on Lavos Senior, it appears as though obstacle is sleep. It is a manageable status effect, being cancelled by incoming damage. Something like stop would be much scarier to deal with. Fitz, having entered the party with no sleep protection, decides to take a nap. This may cause problems as his party is not currently healed up for the next attack. Chokosora is entering the fight now as Phone wraps up the first phase and Batsy yeehaws into Lavo's spawn again. And we see a reset from Fitz. Armed with the knowledge of Lavo's status ailment, he will likely adjust his strategy and be fine going forward. Fitz slows down the battle speed, reducing the risk that the boss will attack before he can heal his party. Chokosora heals the party immediately after Lavo's opening attack, greatly reducing the risk of a wipe from the sleep and follow-up attack. Phone places a haste on Chrono, a move which will make the second phase go very quickly, as long as the banana attack does not attack Mal twice. Batsy's final boss before the Zeal encounters is Son of Sun, which can be quite scary this late in the game due to its high magic damage. If Batsy can find the right flame quickly, this fight should be over in no time. If not, it will be over in some time. Phone survives bananas and arm goes down. Batsy finds the correct flame very quickly. This will all be over soon. Chokosora is in critical condition and will need to heal immediately as Phone takes down the second arm. Chokosora goes for the stylish finish with an arc impulse. Before Chokosora catches his breath, Fitz catches up to him. Phone is for some reason using regular ethers to keep Chrono's MP high enough for Ice Sword too. He should be near the end of the second phase. Phone completes the second phase right as Fitz and Chokosora start it. Batsy has defeated Son of Sun and will be starting the Zeal Gauntlet momentarily. With the amount of damage Ice Sword 2 is putting out, these fights will be over in mere seconds, and she still has a shot at taking home the trophy. Phone hits the menu glitch transition to Lavo's core, giving him a chance to recover his party and make any last-minute adjustments. Batsy is beginning the Zeal 1 fight now. This boss is not a threat and only has 5000 HP. There is another menu glitch transition between Zeal and the Mammon Machine encounter, which will allow Batsy to heal up. Phone begins his Lavo's core fight as Chokosora enters the final phase of Lavo's 2. For Lavo's core, there are two main approaches. The first is to defeat the middle bit, which has 8000 HP and is vulnerable to magic damage. With the power of these parties, this will be an attractive option as defeating it stops the deadly barrage of attacks it inflicts. And just like that, Zeal 1 goes down in the middle of my blabbering. Batsy will take this opportunity to heal up and finish the Mammon machine. The machine has 10,000 HP, so it will also fall very quickly, and then Batsy need only dump 20,000 damage into the final boss. Anyway, the second Lavos core strategy is to take out the left bit with only 2,000 HP. This can only be done with physical damage. Either bit going down will cause the core to lower its defenses while it revives the bits, which provides an opening for the player to defeat the core. Chokosora defeats Lavos 2 as Phone takes the middle bit down. At this point, Phone needs to do 20,000 damage to the core to win. With Ice Sword to hitting in excess of 5,000 damage, that translates to Ice Sword 8, or 4 casts of Ice Sword 2. Barring any unforeseen problems, this is his race to lose. The core's defenses go down, and Phone begins the Ice Sword to spam. 3 more, and this run is over. To more Ice Swords to go as Batsy and Chokosora begin their final battles. The third Ice Sword goes out. Phone recovers MP for one final push and the deed is done. Phone finished the run, and the other runners are right behind. With a time of 1 hour 31 minutes and 27 seconds, Phone is victorious. Batsy is dumping damage into Zeal at an alarming rate. This will be over before we know it. Fitz begins the Lavos core fight now. Halation goes out for Batsy, indicating that the boss has less than 10,000 HP remaining. Another sword or 2, and this run will be wrapped up. Batsy, in a show of pure confidence, has opted to attack Zeal with 1 horsepower remaining instead of playing it safe. The Megalixir goes out and Zeal will go down. And in a miraculous comeback run through the Black Omen, Batsy has come in second with a time of 1 hour 32 minutes and 33 seconds. Chokosora has defeated the middle bit and will be joining the others in the post-race lounge. And there you have it, folks. Chokosora has completed the run with a time of 1 hour 33 minutes and 31 seconds. While we wait for Fitz to finish Lavos, let us take a moment to thank some people. To the developers, thanks for all you have done and continue to do. To the community, thank you for providing a welcoming and helpful environment, free of the toxicity that is so common online. To the racers, thank you for participating in the race and providing your videos for us all to watch and enjoy and learn from. Of the 4 racers not in this video, The standings are as follows. Atomraptors with a time of 1 hour 37 minutes and 17 seconds. Hunnydoo with a time of 1 hour 47 minutes and 44 seconds. smercjd with a time of 1 hour 54 minutes and 49 seconds. And SaintVonJester with a time of 2 hours 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you for making this race an exciting one. If you would like to participate in future races, join the Jets of Time Discord. The link is in the description below. We plan to run live races every Sunday, one in the morning and one in the evening. Racers of all levels are welcome, and we hope to see some fresh faces there. If live races are not your thing, we know exactly where you're coming from. We also run async races that can be completed on your own time, with breaks not counting against you. Or if racing isn't your thing and you just want to experience Chrono Trigger in a new way, we have a wide variety of options that can be enabled to customize your runs in a number of ways. And Fitz has finished with a time of 1 hour 35 minutes and 38 seconds. Good night.